Oh, wow. Another episode of Shift Happens Catalyst Conversations, and it feels like it's coming to a full circle because today with me I have somebody from across the ocean, JP. I interviewed like a few years ago on my other podcast, the old podcast, and I was also on his podcast. And eventually we actually got to meet in person as well in Austin, Texas for a super coach event. And now it's like again talking about things, talking about growth and mindset and self development as usual, because we are the kind of people who just love to grow. We are the kind of people who love to have different shifts in our lives, and I feel that we are both also catalysts for other people because we bring growth into other people's lives. But yeah, let's start somewhere and let's start talking about some kind of shift and transformation that maybe was the recent one for you, or maybe something that's kind of like the core big shift, big change that you have done in your life that has changed a lot of things. So, whatever you want to share, share something about the shift.
All right. So the first thing that comes up when you say the shift, there's a Wayne Dyer movie. It's like a documentary, but it's a really cool movie. It's on YouTube free, and he talks about the shift. And the shift usually happens for some reason as humans when something really bad happens. We have to wait till it gets really bad before we make a shift. And I'll give you an example. The other way is we all know that we're supposed to eat healthy and sometimes we don't. But why do we have to wait until we get sick and then we start to change? So for me, a shift that happened was probably about 7 years ago. I was taking 33 pills a day for chronic pain, and I was in a mobility scooter, and I couldn't laugh, cough, sneeze, or breathe without excruciating pain. I would wake up every day and I would know exactly what was going to happen. I would take some pills, be in pain, take more pills later, be in pain, go to sleep, and do it over again. So the shift happened as my son was about to turn 5. I decided I'm not doing this anymore. I couldn't lift him. Like we would go down to parades and things, and I couldn't lift him on my shoulders. And for his first 5 years, I wasn't really able to pick him up. So slowly I came off these pills. You have to do it with a doctor. And my whole life just changed. From that point on, it wasn't just a physical shift. There was an emotional, psychological, but I call it a spiritual awakening. I just woke up as a new person. I viewed the world. It looked totally different. And I guess I took back my power, and that's probably what was missing the most before that.
Yeah, that's powerful. Just taking back your power. It's just making this decision. So this can be like huge. How can people do this? How can people make the decision? Okay, I want to take back my power. Do you have any tips for this?
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's so simple, but it's just as simple as you said that. How can people decide to take back their power? You just decide. You make a choice. It's scary because it's not familiar. And for that example of being in chronic pain, I was just giving my power to the doctor because he was a doctor. Well, now we know so much more. And I didn't realize at the time that just because he's a doctor, it doesn't mean he knows everything about medical studies. Some doctors, they've gone to school 30, 40 years ago, and we all know how much things have changed in the last 30, 40 years. Just the field of psychology itself has changed so much. Neuroplasticity, neuroscience, all of these things. And the best way to do it is to get quiet. You go inside yourself, you shut out all the distractions, and start asking questions. What do I want? If I could do whatever I want, what would I do? I want my life to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? What would my 75-year-old self be thanking me for doing today? And slowly, piece by piece, all these things start to stack up. So for me, I do things like journaling, meditation, exercise, a lot of mindfulness. I'll go to the sauna and I'll be meditating while I'm in the sauna. Before I go to bed, I'll listen to hypnosis tracks. You can rewire your brain. I think neuroplasticity would be the key here for that. Neuroplasticity, all that is that your brain is making new connections. So, for example, you go to a new country, you experience a new culture, a new language, new people, new food. Your brain's starting to make new connections towards that thing. And this it will happen good or bad, but the underlying theme is that for our entire life, we've been wiring ourselves for wherever we're at today. I'm reading a book right now called The 5 a.m. Club, and he says most people,
Ah,
you know that book?
yeah, yeah, I know. I read it.
Yeah, I've read it before, but I'm reading it again, and he says there's so many good quotes. It's like, whoa. But one of them, he says,
Mm.
most people die when they're 30 and get buried when they're 80. And I was just like,
Oh.
whoa.
Yeah, most people just think, okay, this is how I am. I can't change. No, so I'm just gonna continue hating my job, hating my family, hating everything, and just complaining and just kind of like surviving. And they decide not to live. And this is actually scary. I wouldn't want to do that. I'm kind of scared even of doing not meaningful things. So maybe sometimes I'm even pushing myself too hard because I want to have a lot of meaning. I want to leave some kind of legacy. I want to live out my potential, not just waste it on sitting on the sofa and watching Netflix, for example, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, overachiever, right? And it's
Mm.
a double-edged sword with that because I'm the same way, but it's like you get to the top and it's like, what's next? And then there's times we always have to look over our shoulder and just realize how far we've came because it's so easy to just go next. We are only here for 80, 100 years if you're lucky.
Mm.
And so what kind of impact do you want? So I'm totally with you on that one. I think I have a framework that I haven't tested it on everything, but everything I have tested on, it works. And it's a way to manifest. And you just said something back there where people are doing it and the negativity, they're manifesting that by complaining. Your words are vibrating out of your mouth and you're
Yeah.
complaining about everything. And, oh, I don't have enough money. I can't afford it. Okay, fine. The universe just hears that and is like, here you go. You can't afford it. But the framework is called bias, and it stands
Hmm.
for belief, intention, action, and surrender. And if you can have all of these things towards whatever your goal is, it will happen. The first thing is belief. If you don't have belief, you just won't even try. But next, you set your intentions. Some people call this manifesting. But then you have to get up out of your meditation, visualization, and go do something. That's the action part. The surrender part is tricky. It's the hardest part.
Oh yes.
Yeah. But what it means is that if it doesn't work out exactly like you want it to, which it probably won't, that there's a bunch of things. Maybe it's not meant for you in this life. Maybe the universe is keeping you away from that to protect you. And maybe the universe is also testing you to see how bad you want it. So you face these trials and tribulations along the way, then how bad do you want it? I think any high achiever, entrepreneur, not even, just successful people. And that could mean a parent, stay at home mom could be a successful person, but they understand that philosophy. So that's just one of the tools. I got lots we can go through if you want.
Yeah, that's also something that I tell my clients. Like, first, you kind of have to know what you want and why you want it. It's like having this some kind of intention. Then I work with the limiting beliefs and doubt because if you don't have the belief that you can have it, then you can't have it. The third part always is the action part as well, because if you just think, okay, I want this, and I manifest every day, I meditate on it every day, and you actually don't do anything, if you don't make your power move into action, you will never get this thing. So yeah, action part is also super super important. And the thing that you added, surrender, I feel that for me that's also the hardest part, because okay, I'm doing so many things, I believe I want, but I'm like, what do you mean surrender? Do I have to wait for it? No, I want it now because I'm ready. Come on, universe.
Yeah. Some people think surrender is weak, but I think it's actually super powerful and it allows for some kind of peace or equanimity to flow through you.
Mm.
Like just knowing, like, this is what I'm trying to do, but this is also my ego trying to do this. There's a whole other spiritual side that I don't really know enough about that has a better plan for everything, right?
Yeah, it's okay. Maybe your ego is like, okay, I'm surrendering now. Universe, universe. Can you see I'm surrendering? And then you get like restless, impatient, and you start maybe not believing
Right.
anymore. So, how do you actually surrender? Has it worked for you? You also said that you're trying.
Wow.
Do you have like some good surrender hack?
Yeah, surrender. Okay, so just the idea of surrender. So every year I attach a theme word to my year. And so one year it was surrender. And just having that in the background, the idea of the theme word is you try to live into it and embody it and just live that word and just let it show up and see it all around you. But when it was surrender, that was one where it was so obvious when you weren't surrendering that it was just like, oof, I guess I better surrender. And then the second that you did, so much great things happened. One silly example is my wife's a kindergarten teacher, and during COVID, our living room was the classroom. So she had this little incubator and she hatched baby chicks. And we had all these little chickens running around our living room.
Wow.
And at first I was like getting frustrated and upset. And there was a point where we didn't think that the little chickens were going to hatch. So she got these like teenager chickens and they were able to fly. They would fly up on the couch, and it was a messy couple of days. Just once I surrender, it's like, okay, you get to see the magic, the beauty. One of our dogs would go over to this box that had the chicks and just look inside, and that's just one of them, but so many different things. I'm sure we can all go through our life and look at the times where you surrender and the times where you don't and just see the difference.
Hmm. So we both also had experience of running marathons, and I would say that yes, maybe at some point, if you surrender during this race, it actually starts getting easier. Marathon is like never super easy, and in the end, it can be real suffering. But also, actually, when you surrender, you go through the wall that you might get during the race, and when you go through this wall, it's kind of like okay, 5 more minutes, little bit more, and oh, finish line. I did it. So it's not the easiest thing to do, but through this physical suffering, you don't have any other option unless you're gonna quit and step away from the track. But if you want to continue, once it starts getting really hard, you just continue. And I feel that this is actually also a form of surrendering.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so marathon specifically, I facilitate a group for chronic pain, anxiety, and depression. And my whole thing is I'm just trying to get people to believe in themselves enough to just make your bed. Or just one lady, she wouldn't leave her apartment. And I was just trying to get her to just walk to the end of the hallway. You don't have to go outside. Just the littlest step, right? And so I was trying this Bias framework out, and that's what I said. I said, I'm going to run a marathon to prove that this framework can work for anybody or anything. And the thing about that marathon was that I didn't believe that I could do it on the first day, but I did believe that I could become the type of person that could do it. And so you start at the end goal and you work your way backwards, reverse engineering it. And so you want to run 42.2 kilometers, 26 miles. Well, you can't do that if you've never done it before, but you can slowly work backwards. Okay, I need to get up to 32 or 33 in training, and I'll start at one, then two, 5, 10, 20, right? So right now we're in a training and just started a couple weeks ago at 15 kilometers. That was the first slow run, and now we're already up to 18. And by adding 10% every week, we're going to hit about 33 kilometers in middle of April, and then we'll be ready for a May marathon.
Wow, that's very cool. And I really love this build up of the marathon. So, because when I started, oh my God, 16 years ago, I first also did 16 kilometers, then I did a half marathon, then 1 year after this, I did a full one. So, it was also like gradually building up and kind of like building this mental and physical muscle and proving to yourself that, okay, I can get better. And also having this belief in your future self, kind of like connecting with this future vision, connecting with your future self, and then okay, I see you there, and I'm gonna get to you, and then you start growing in the present moment.
100%. Yeah. So you set that goal, and then what that goal does that's way out in the future, it drives your behavior between now and then. And then you can become that type of person. And I'm sure you know because you did competitive, but like just the idea of running that far for that long, it's almost unfathomable. Like it makes me think, man, if I can do that, what else can I do? So last year, I tried to do 2 marathons in 7 weeks. Now, halfway through the training for the first marathon, I messed up my hamstring, but I still ran it anyway. And then the second marathon, I just didn't even train at all. So now we're going from not believing we can do anything to not even training for a marathon and still doing it. And it's just like, If we could do things like that, I'm no special guy, right? Like I was saying, I was in a mobility scooter 7 years ago. So if I could do it, anyone could do it.
Yes, your story is truly inspiring. You have come so far from that point, and it's like now I'm just running marathons. And I guess for me, I didn't start with the goal of marathon. I started with okay, I have this 16-kilometer run. I want to do this. After this, I did it. Okay, what's next? Okay, let's try 21, and then okay, let's try the full marathon. So I didn't start with this peak goal in mind. For example, I started with something and then I just got curious about it and I went forward and okay, I want more. I want to go deeper into this. I want to try it out. And a few years after this, I also got more into competitive sports. So first I was just doing marathons for fun. I was traveling a lot with my friends and we had like philosophical discussions. So it was also like philosophy running club.
Yeah,
So different approach. It was called Life Run, find your life through running, basically. So we mostly talked about philosophical or psychological effect of running and then we ran a little bit. It wasn't like serious kind of running, it was more about enjoyment. And we were also traveling. We went to Loch Ness Marathon in Scotland, we went to Iceland, Reykjavik, we went yeah, Barcelona was also one of the trips, and now I'm living here. And
wow.
this was more about fun. And so, at some point, I was like, okay, I'm actually pretty good at this. I could do better. I could do like competitive sport. I could have a professional coach because before that, I was just doing something, maybe reading some running magazines. But then I got a professional running coach, and I got 1 hour faster.
Wow.
So I started with 4 hours and 30 minutes, 4.5 hours. The best I ever did was 3:15.
Wow.
So I got so much faster when I had a professional coach who was guiding me. So I always started wanting more and more and more. So maybe in the beginning you only had a curiosity, and then you're like, okay, I actually enjoy this thing. I want to see what I'm capable of. I want to see what's my potential.
I love it. And so, what was the catalyst for you to know exactly? Like, was there a certain moment where you're like, I think I'm gonna go do the national trials for my country?
This was like a national championships. I was just like, okay, because I was also part of a running club, and it was quite normal to go to nationals as well. And at this point, I was also married to somebody who was very good at running, and I was like, okay, I also want to be good. I want to run the nationals. I want to do bigger things. I want to just feel special in a way. And for me, if I was a better runner, I would love to represent my country, Estonia, like anywhere. Actually, because Estonia is so small, I personally knew these guys who
Sure.
were running the Olympic marathons. So because they were also like my husband's clients, he was like a physiotherapist. That's why. And I was like, oh my God, they are so accessible. They are so easy to talk to. They are real humans. And I'm like, oh, I would like to also know what's possible for me if I took it more seriously. So just being in this vibe of these amazing people, this was also very inspiring for me. I was like, okay, they can do that. Of course, they have been athletes for many, many years. And I just started after high school. I'm like, okay, whatever, I can still try and see what can happen.
Wow.
Just curiosity and just seeing these inspired people around me.
So that's a huge thing you just said that I think gets skipped over a lot is we're talking about greatness and being close enough to touch it, but then realizing that they're just people as well, right? And where I live, Toronto, that's like the hockey center of the universe. Everybody knows somebody who's in the NHL. And so I take my kids to the places and we see the guys and we talk to them and they're just normal people. But if you don't ever see that, it seems like it's too far away that you might never ever be able to touch it. The movie, I forget what it's called, with the Williams sisters, the tennis players. Will Smith is the dad. And he takes them from like the ghetto in Los Angeles, Compton, and he drives them over to Beverly Hills to see what it looks like. There's always the stories of people who get stuck in the ghetto, they never leave, they don't realize they can just get on a bus and leave. The greatness was it's not that far away, you know what I mean? You have to just show them it's two things in there. You have to be close enough to touch the greatness, but then when you get there, you realize they're just people. They got the same problems, same thoughts, same feelings. Public speakers is a good one, right? I'm going to Toastmasters. I'm trying to get better at public speaking. And so when I go to conferences like that one we attended, one of my intentions was to go and watch some of the best speakers in the world to see how do they do it. And then when you get there and you start talking to them, you realize they're just normal people, and that the reason we think they're so great is because we see them at the end. We didn't see the years of like they've practiced, right? So just anything we get at. And I guess that's part of the bias framework too, is just if you believe, intend, take action, and then surrender. I'm going to show up, I'm going to try my best, and if it doesn't happen, that's not for me. No
Yeah,
problem.
I've also noticed because I've done pod for a while and this is not my first one. And while I'm editing, because I'm also using a software that shows me the transcript. And nowadays I see that, okay, I have less of these like, so I used to have a lot of these. And when I talk to other people who are maybe not so used to speaking on pod, their words, their sentences, they have so much more of this and I'm like, oh my god. And then I look at my own statements in the same transcript. I'm like, oh, I'm actually pretty good already.
Yeah.
It's I don't have all this wow woo things that I had in the beginning. So, and I also consciously do it. So whenever I'm on podcast, maybe I just do something with body language like this, like nothing, and I'm not like because if I do all these as a reaction to you later, I will have to handle this in the subtitles, and so I'm also consciously controlling it, and it's getting better. It's practice. Okay, practice maybe doesn't make perfect, but practice brings progress. I mean, yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I love it. There's a counter at Toastmasters. Someone's job is to count every time somebody says and like the first time I went, I remember the guy said you said it 14 times in 2 minutes. And I was like, what? I had no idea.
What?
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
no idea. But awareness is another key to everything. Just if you don't know, you don't know. And before, where I told you my old story, I just didn't know that I could make it up and create the life that I wanted. And man, once I did, it's like, here we go. And then we do that phase 4, 3 years out. What do you want to create? Let's do it. And then you get to 3 years and you're like, wow, everything on my list came true. This is amazing. Now let's do it again.
Yeah, back then you were also believing the authority, the doctor, because the doctor knows a lot about medicine. But the doctor doesn't actually know what it feels like to live in your body. The doctor doesn't know what you are capable of. Only you can know this. Only you can know what you are capable of as a human being, like physically, mentally, emotionally. Only you can know it. And if you choose to have this growth mindset, if you choose to grow and experiment and get curious about it, you can actually grow very, very big. And it's so amazing that you found the strength in you to say, okay, I'm not going to believe you. I will just go and do the things that I want to do. I will just get better
Yeah,
bit by bit. And I know that for you, it was like also like a process. It wasn't like, okay, one day you're in a mobility scooter, next day you're running a marathon. It was also a journey.
yeah, for sure. It was a journey, a long journey, but now looking back, it kind of happened fast when it did happen. I think there's something belief. When you're going through things, if you don't believe in yourself or if you give your power away and you're believing other people, then you kind of lose yourself along the way. That's where the getting quiet, right? Is know thyself. You hear that all the time, and it's so true because we get to make it up. And if you don't believe that, can't help you. And I don't need you to believe like you're going to make everything or whatever. Just believe that you can become a different person if you want. And that's what my biggest thing was. My whole life is just night and day. I can't even fathom going back to that person.
Yeah, it's like, who was this past version of you? It's like, you don't even recognize that person anymore. And even right now, I don't recognize the person I was 3 days ago because I had some trigger happening over the weekend and I was super sad. And now, I'm like looking back, I'm like, okay, why was I so down?
Yeah,
Why I don't even recognize this person who was so paralyzed and couldn't act and couldn't shake off the sadness. Now I'm like, no, I took back my power.
nice.
I just chose, okay, I'm not gonna be in this state. I will just take back my power.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's just even in a few days, such big things can happen, shifts can happen. So for me, this time the catalyst was hypnosis session that I attended, and I didn't expect it to be so deep because it was just about changing one bad habit. So I was okay. let's get rid of emotional eating. I don't want to eat when I'm sad. I didn't know that in this session, the instructions would be to go to your childhood home where you feel warm. I was like, I don't want to go in there. I had massive and I didn't feel safe, and my inner child felt invisible and super sad. I was talking to her and I was crying. I was like, this was supposed to be easy hypnotherapy about bad habits. Why do we go into the inner child stuff? So it was unexpected. It triggered, and I got into this sad cycle. And then also started noticing that actually, no, I don't want to be in this sad cycle. I will come out of this. I want to be the powerful version of me. So for me, this time, again, connecting with my purpose, doing things like this podcast, for example, and just having some kind of mission, this also helps me get out of these kind of things. Because if you have like bigger problems to solve rather than being in your own sadness, it kind of this your personal purpose to kind of disappear as well.
For sure.
This
Yeah. If you focus your attention on other people or outside of yourself, it's the ego again, right? When we get in pain and suffering, it's always because I, me, mine. Maybe not pain, but
Mm.
suffering. Anytime we suffer mentally, it's I, me, my. Why me? And the second you put you, they, them, it changes everything. I think just my watch face, right? It's a Viktor Frankl quote, and it says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space, we have the power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. It's a little shift, like you're talking about. Wayne Dyer calls this the gap, but it's this tiny moment between the thought coming into your head and you reacting. And most of the time, our reaction is just a subconscious thing. You can probably see this, everybody is easy with your family, right? I watch my wife's family when they get together at holidays. The youngest one just kind of turns into the little kid again. And it's this archetype where she's just not even doing it. She just steps in the room, everybody's there, the older sisters, and then, okay, I'm the little one. And she's never like that unless she's in this situation. But if she could get in the gap, maybe she doesn't want to, but if she could get in the gap and you could change it. The easiest example is someone cuts you off while you're driving in your car, right? You could get mad at them and freak out, or you could get in the, and that's probably a subconscious pattern, or you could get in the gap and have a little bit more compassion. And man, I hope that guy's going to be okay. And I hope he's not on his way to the hospital or something, right? Just get in the gap, shift the story. And it's a narrative, right? You're telling yourself a story, and we have the ability to change our story. And it's something you can practice, something you can develop and get better at any skill.
Yeah, this is also quite old wisdom. So I was this week listening to Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, and he's also talking a lot about stepping into the other person's shoes. So instead of getting angry, instead of becoming irritated, you try to see their perspective, and the way you talk to the person is also like, okay, I understand that you have this and this and this happening, and you also use praise and like, I know that you are a very detailed person, and that's why maybe this little detail irritated you. So you kind of see things from the other person's perspective. You don't talk about you. You don't talk to this person about how their behavior impacted you. You tell them about themselves because everybody loves to hear about themselves. So this way, you also get out of this ego, and conflicts are also resolved so much faster because you show that you have this compassion, you have this ability to understand the other person and their perspective. So that's quite an old book. It's a
You got
classic,
it right there.
and now I finally got to listening to it.
Yeah, I think it's Dale Carnegie, but don't quote me. But he also says kind of what you said about two words a person loves the most are their own name. Your
Yeah,
first
yeah,
and
no
last
name,
name.
true. So that's why he also emphasized it's so important to learn how other people's names are pronounced or and spelled. So this way you can also win people over because you show them that okay, you are important to me, and I remembered your name. Yes.
Yeah, I try really hard and I'm still not the best at it, but I'll try during when I meet somebody to say their name two or three times while I'm talking to them and like, okay, bye,
Mm.
Silja, and just it's a way to remember and kind of lock it in.
Yeah, that's true. And you pronounced my name correctly, so I was like, huh. Because very often people are still like Silja, Silja. I'm like, no, it's Silja. So especially when I'm living abroad, so maybe they see my name in the written format, and they're like, okay, Silja. So because the J is actually silent, it's Silja. So that's why I'm like, and whenever I say my name out loud, people are always like, okay, how do you write that? So it's a little bit confusing one. But yes, I would say it is important. And I'm always impressed if somebody gets my name right. It's like, huh. And I guess it was maybe Bill Clinton who also made it a point to know people's names and just also remember things about them. So when he met them again, he was also like, okay, how is your son doing or whatever?
Yeah, I heard, I don't know, is it like Ben Franklin? I don't know, somebody way, way back in history, but they would write it all down. After they left that person, they would go and write it. Maybe it was the Queen. The Queen had someone to take notes after she would meet somebody about that person and remember. I don't know who it was. I shouldn't go there because I'm just spitting out names now. But yeah, good idea to kind of remember if you can.
Hmm. True. So this is how you get to other people. This is how you can convince them to do anything. But okay, let's say that you want to have a big shift in your life. How do you convince yourself? You make the decision, and even if you want it a lot, how do you handle the limiting beliefs and all the doubts and all the I can't, I'm too old, I don't have this, that, I don't have time, money? Is there like some good way how to handle it?
So the longer term answer would be that you have to create the evidence to the contrary. And the short term answer is your mind is going to just tell you the opposite, whatever it is. Anything hard, anything that causes you to expend energy, your brain doesn't want to do it. Every single time I go for a run, every single time, my brain goes, you can't do that. You're not going to be able to finish that. Whatever the distance is, doesn't matter 10 kilometers or 40. You can't do that. You're not going to be able. You might as well just stay in the covers. Don't get out of bed. It's okay. And I used to believe it or I wasn't sure. And it was like, I'm not sure. Maybe you're right. Now I know that's not right. And it's still there. And it's annoying now. It's like, shut up. There's a guy called the Iron Cowboy, and he ran 99 triathlons in 99 days. And then when he got to the end, he said, I'm going to do one more, make it 100 in 100. And he said on day 99, his mind was still telling him, you're not going to be able to finish this. And it's like, I just did it. Like, what are you talking about, right? Obviously, if I did it 98 times in a row, I'm going to be able to do it one more time. And it just shows that the brain is always there. And we know why, right? It's trying to keep us safe. If your brain could, it would just sit in bed and eat potato chips and watch Netflix. It's just the easiest, safest thing to do, and it conserves energy.
Yeah, that's very true. So it's constant work on your mindset. And this is also something that you know very well. And that's also something that you teach people, right? How to change the mind.
Yeah, so when we talk about coaching, we talk about all the niches, and I call myself a performance coach, but at the end of the day, it's all mindset. What do you want to create? Let's create it. And I don't want to know how you can't create it. I want to know how can you create it. And there's got to be more than one way. If somebody's done it before, you can do it. And the best way, yeah, it's to create the evidence by, I have a saying, I say, go low, go slow. And so what does this look like? Okay, today you can do one push-up, right? Maybe you can't do 100 push-ups, but can you do one? Okay, great. Do one. Tomorrow, add one more. And then by the end of the month, you're at 30. By the end of the season, you're almost at 100 push-ups a day. And it's just that little stacking. And what happens there over the time is that the habit of stacking, it creates the evidence for you. So now 3 months go by and you're like, I can't do 100 push-ups. All of a sudden you were doing one every day, adding another one, another one. And so then you're at 100 or 90 or whatever. Now you can look back. When your brain does start to talk you out of it, you can say, no, look, I got all this evidence that I've created in my own life. So that's knowing thyself again. It doesn't matter what other people say. And I heard a guy, he was saying, like, I forget what exactly what it was, but let's say marathon. It's like, you can't do a marathon, you're 45. It's like, maybe you can't do a marathon, but I can. And it's all belief. So the biggest thing about belief, I think, okay, Donald Hebb, he was a Canadian psychologist back in the day. He had a principle called neurons that fire together, wire together. If you think about a same thought, or if you take the same action, eventually it just gets locked in. And so what does this look like is Just picture a big field of grass, like a meadow, and there's just grass everywhere. And if you take one direct path and you walk through, it will push down the grass in that area. If you keep walking that same path every single day, eventually it will become like a dirt trail, right? And so now all of a sudden, so that's what neurons and neuroplasticity is. It's wiring in that same path, and then it becomes stronger and thicker and easier to do. And then the circuits in your brain will light up towards that. Another way of doing this is time has location and energy has memory. Maybe it's the other way around. I learned this in Jay Shetty's book, Think Like a Monk. But it's so true, right? So let's say you wake up and you meditate every day at 5 a.m. After a certain amount of time, you don't need an alarm clock. Your body just will wake up, you go to that spot, and the energy is already set in that container. And so then this becomes part of your subconscious programming. We do this already, right? Things like just brushing your teeth. You probably do it in the exact same spot every day at the exact same time without even realizing. But it's because you've locked in this habit. And so somebody says, well, you can't brush your teeth at 8 a.m. or whatever. You have all the evidence that you've been doing it for however long. Just that's maybe not the best example, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's all about repetition as well and having some kind of routine, having some kind of rhythm that is unique to you. And it doesn't have to the same as somebody else's, but it's uniquely yours. You believe in it, you live it, and things just happen. You're like whatever you want to be
Yeah.
because you're just following your own.
I got a good tool. It's called the N90 protocol. And so what it is, you take four things you want to change in your life or you want to attract or manifest, whatever you want to call it. But four things. And then you write them on a piece of paper. So let's say journaling, meditation, exercise, and cooking. You want to learn how to cook. So now you put them on the list and you rank them 1 to 4. Which one do I want the most? Like 90 days from now, which one do I want? And you start with that one and you don't even look at the other three. You only do that one thing for 90 days. And you kind of mentioned this earlier, but it's like you get to learn if you like it or not. So 90 days is a nice window where you're not wasting too much time, right? Let's say I want to learn how to speak Spanish. If I try it for 90 days, I'm either going to find out if I like it or not, but I'm also not wasting a lot of time if I don't like it. But if I do like it, then I'll do another 90 days. And so what happens with the N90 protocol, you do that first one on your list and then you add in the second one after 90 days and you keep the first one. So if it was journaling, now I'm journaling for days. And then I add in meditation. And then at the third quarter of the year, you can add in exercise. Now you've been journaling for 9 months. And all of a sudden, by the end of a year, your whole life could shift.
That's very true. Just start going, start doing, start taking even like small actions. And it doesn't have to be like forever. It's like, okay, you have this time frame, okay, 90 days. I can survive the 90 days. And if you don't do anything these 90 days, these 3 months, they can just pass by and you're not evolving at all. But you can make these 90 days super, super meaningful for yourself and your life and your purpose and the goals. So that's a very cool tool because everybody has 90 days.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be forever if you don't like it. Okay, I tried at least. I'm not gonna waste any more energy on thinking about, okay, do I like it or not? Should I try? Should I just do it? And then maybe it's not
100%.
for you, or maybe it's going to be your favorite thing in life. Just start and just try. Yeah, that's amazing. I know that you also have a podcast and you talk a lot about reaching your goals and knowing where you're going. The Phase 4 podcast. Maybe you can tell a few words about this as well.
Yeah, Phase 4 podcast. We just hit 200 episodes a little while ago, and it's for body, mind, and spirit. I talk to coaches and creatives. We have nice organic conversations like this. So if you like this, you're going to like that. And basically, I just learned the story where people were, where they are now, where they're going. And the Phase 4 in the 6 phase meditation by Vishen Lakhiani, it's about creating your future 3 years out. And so I always ask each guest, which is the best part, what does your Phase 4 look like? And you can see people just go up and pluck out the air their dreams and bring their dreams to life for a minute now before it actually happens. And I guess we're going on just over 3 years. So I'm gonna have to go back to the beginning and start seeing if what happened to those people's phase fours, if they came true or not.
Yeah, I should go back and listen and watch my episode and see it because I maybe vaguely remember what I was talking about, but it has been a while, let's say.
Kind of
So I might be in a
remember.
different place now.
I think you're doing some of the things you've already said, and it definitely was not 3 years ago. I think we're a year and a half.
2023 maybe. So it's not 3 years yet. I still have some time. Whew. But it's also maybe a good idea to revisit and see, okay, what did I want? And
Yeah,
am I on my way? Am I living the life that I said that I want to have? So it's also kind of checking if I'm in alignment
right.
with the things that I want to do.
And even
And maybe I'll check if something has changed completely.
another part is that you go back and like where I am right now, in 3 years, I'm going to be a totally different person. So I can't even see what I want 3 years out. I have a little bit of an idea, but you know what I mean? So when I go back and listen to some of these episodes, the 3 year plan, you're a different person by then. So now your dream gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And
Yeah, that's very true.
I got all of mine actually, but one of them was to become a motivational speaker. And in just last year, I gave my first motivational speech in front of 40 people, and it was awesome. And so that
Hmm.
new plan, that was only within the first year of the 3 year plan.
Wow, what was the speech about?
There was a little bit of bias. I used the three MIQs. There was a lot of mental health. I was talking, I don't know if you know what Rotary Club is, but it's like
Yeah,
community
kind
kind
of
of.
like charity.
It's just like leaders in the community and they kind of help out doing community stuff and yeah, stuff like that. So I went to talk to them and I just kind of told them my story. It was 1 month after my 45th birthday and I was just sharing how I got to run the Niagara Falls Marathon. And at the very last part of the race, my wife and kids were waiting for me. And I grabbed each of my kids by the hand and we ran to the finish line together. And then I was saying how I couldn't do that 10 years ago. Or I was saying how I thank my son because he's the reason, right? He was the catalyst. Not just that, but like 10 years ago, it would have been impossible because of where my situation was. Then I gave them some tools for their companies. Some of these people are business leaders, city council kind of members. So I gave them tools like the three MIQs. I shared the bias framework, and I don't know if you know Martin Seligman, but the values in action VIA character strength survey.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so I weaved all of those together, and then I kind of told them take all these tools and use them.
Yeah, for people who don't know what 3MAQ is, three most important questions. So, what you want to do in life, what you want to experience, and who you want to become. Something like this.
And what do you want to contribute? Yeah,
Yeah, contribute as well. Because it's not only about you, it's also about what you're giving back.
yeah.
And what's kind of your legacy? What's the mark that you're leaving on this world?
So now the question is,
So it's
what is the
always
mark
it's
you're
always bigger
leaving?
than you. Yeah, 3MIQ, that's also a powerful framework. I have done it, I think, 3 times. The last time I did it was almost half a year ago with a friend. I should really go into my notes and see what I wrote this time because it's always very empowering to see, okay, what do I want to experience in life and what kind of person I want to become. And also for me, it's super exciting to think, okay, what do I want to give back? What's my legacy? Because I love creation. I love the great podcasts and courses and even like content on social media. I love it. I just love doing all these things. I just want to have more of this because I feel that I can also inspire a lot of people. And recently, people have also started telling me this that, okay, I inspire them. So I'm like, okay, that's good to know because, very often people don't speak up, they just follow you
Yeah,
and maybe they only tell you something if they need to complain,
yeah. No, that's true.
sadly.
You inspired me a while ago to make a writing course. I don't think I ever told you that, like you're
Oh,
saying.
wow.
Yeah.
It was about time. So yeah, I love writing. So it's so nice to hear that you are doing something about writing as well. What
Yeah.
was the course about? Tell me a little bit more about it.
So the book, The Artist Tao, oops, that is the name of the course. Tao Te Ching is the Taoist like Bible, and then there's a book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And I just married the two of them together and turned it into a 12-week course, and it was powerful. There was like inner child work all the way through, right? Everything, dreaming, limiting beliefs, all of it. And it just ended up as this 12-week course where we would kind of meet on Zoom. I would open with a meditation, and straight out of the meditation, we would just write. And there was like a prompt coming out of the meditation, but right out of that, we would write, and then we would go through the lesson. But it was powerful.
So that's what you're doing. You have your own podcast. You are teaching courses like this. You're also coaching people. What else? How can you help people? What's your contribution?
Right now, I'm doing part time because, as you just mentioned, I'm so busy, right? And I have also a family and a life that I want to have fun in. But the other things are fun, but you know what I mean. I'm taking part time studies, and right now I'm going towards a social service worker diploma. So I take some
Hmm.
classes for that as well, which is also another awesome way to learn how to get better at writing and communicating.
Wow, amazing. And if somebody feels like they want more of you, where can they find you?
Yeah,
What's the best place to start? Of course, the links will also be in the description, but in a few words.
just type JP Horgan and you will find me. I'm everywhere.
Ooh, all over the internet. Wow, amazing. It was so nice to have you again.
It's
Like
awesome, man.
virtually see you. It's
Yeah,
like every time we see, it's just deep conversations.
yeah, it was great. How is your journey going with My Valley?
Taking some courses every day and doing some meditation. I don't know if I'm going to be at any live events, but maybe at some point. I'm just gonna figure things out what I want to do. But yeah, every day right now I'm using the app, so do some kind of meditation and just work on my own mind programming, some kind of like brainwashing myself and just picking some kind of meditation every day, either about abundance, mindset, self-love. That's also something that I'm working on right now. So every day, first thing in the morning, it's like when my brain is still in the foggy state, kind of sleeping, I listen to some kind of meditation. And I'm also doing some courses on there. So it's always growing because there is so much information up there. So I'm just going to use it.
Yeah, I think for body, mind, and spirit, right? That's one thing I'm always having. I'm very conscious of it. So I have another tool called My Five, and then there's like a My Five 2.0. My Five, it came during pandemic. Those groups that facilitate for chronic pain, anxiety, mental health. People were isolated, right? They couldn't get out. So I'm like, what if we took five mentors on YouTube and we spent 12 minutes a day with them? So 1 hour a day, you're learning from five different people. And then after a month, 3 months, if you don't like it, change it up. But you could learn about, I don't know, painting, baking, writing, whatever it is, right? And so you spend 12 minutes a day with five mentors, that's 1 hour a day. Then that tool developed into something bigger where I'm always now looking to have my five for body, my five for spirit, my five for mind. So this isn't the same as the YouTube one or watching mentors online, but this is in my own life. I want to always be conscious, and we already have these. Everybody is already doing some of them, but if you label it, it becomes more powerful. So I always want to have five things I'm doing for my body. So let's say I have push ups, sit ups, fasting, exercising, water, sleep, whatever it is, right? And then for mind, I have affirmations, meditation, reading, writing, podcast. You know what I mean? So I'm always trying to have my five for body, mind, and spirit. And if you could get up to 10 in each category, you're a super high achiever then.
Yeah, it might be quite tempting to always add, but I'm also learning that sometimes I just need to step back a little bit and start removing stuff because I tend to do too many things.
Yeah,
And then sometimes it's like more is not better,
less
you
is
know?
more. We know this especially from marathon training, right? Sometimes less is more. You have to have those rest weeks to adapt.
Yeah, and you have to go slower. So I'm actually also coaching somebody who wants to run his first marathon this year. He did half marathon last year. That was his first one, and now he's very motivated to do the next step. And I also have to tell him that, okay, when you do the long runs, try to keep your heart rate below the aerobic threshold. I'm okay, first hour, keep it low. And the last 15 minutes, just do whatever you want. You can go fast.
Yeah.
So I'm also teaching him to run slower. And in the beginning, it was like real torture because he was like, oh my God, I just want to go faster. I'm like, no, you have to keep the heart rate low. It will, your speed will start improving.
Yeah.
It's also so nice to see somebody really progressing and just coaching this person into this peak race, which is going to be in September.
It's the hardest going slow. For me anyway, that's the hardest part because you don't feel like you're doing anything. You feel like you're not getting a workout. So I'm glad over the last year I've actually did what you're saying there, where I'll slow it down at the beginning, but then whatever, I can't help it. I need to run.
Yeah, it's also training for the mind. It's like you're keeping it low and slow intentionally, even if you want to go, but it's like, okay, no,
It's such a weird
slow, slow,
philosophy, right?
because actually this way you will eventually get faster.
Yeah,
Your body will get adapted to that kind of heart rate, and at some point with the same low heart rate you can go faster,
for
but
longer.
it takes time. It takes a lot of time. And right now we have time, so that's why I'm telling him to do this. Okay, it's February. You don't have to be fast right now. Just go slow.
Go low, go slow.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm basically using the same principle. You see, everything is coming together. It's like principles in different areas and in life. So amazing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for connecting with me again. And 200 episodes. That's also massive. Like, shout out to Phase 4 podcast. Whew.
Yay, thank you.
So it has been a long journey for you as well.
Did I ever tell you how
So
I
yeah.
started the first two episodes?
Okay.
Oh
Tell
man.
me.
So like a tornado came from, I don't know if you know our area, but Toronto all the way to Montreal. It just kind of ripped through and took out trees everywhere. Like that's a far distance, right? Where we live just outside the city, it ripped out all the wires and everything. So we didn't have internet for a month. And so I already had the first two episodes scheduled. So I'm like, what am I gonna do? So I found this library by our house has these like private rooms you can use. So I was like, okay, I'll rent a room at the library. And then I go out and I set up everything. I'm ready to go. I jump on the Zoom call with the first person. I say hello. They start talking. Right when I hear myself talking, the room I was in had wood panels all around, and I could just hear the echo bouncing, and the audio was horrible. It was the worst audio, right? But again, back to the beginning, the universe was testing me. How bad do you want it? So first the tornado comes, there's no internet. How bad do you want it? Okay. I go to the library. Now the audio's I can't even use it. How bad do you want it? So I ended up using it anyway. And
Hmm.
at the time there was no AI or chat GPT or anything, right? But I now have this audio that will clean up any echoes, backgrounds, sirens, horns, background noise. And so I've gone back and I've fixed those two episodes. And I don't know, it's still a little bit, you can hear something, but it's not like it was. But anyway, that's again the universe testing you. How bad do you want it?
Yeah. You really wanted it bad because now 200.
Yeah,
And yeah,
crazy.
I wish you like long life with the podcast and long life with you as well. And hope to see you again in real life at some point.
Yes, that was fun.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Bye.